Les interviews du doc, c'est maintenant sur Vinylestimes.
Eh ben les amis, c'est avec un grand plaisir parce qu'on a passé un petit peu de temps avec Steve Mann et moi je suis très content d'accueillir Steve Mann, ce très grand guitariste, claviériste bien sûr qui joue en ce moment avec Michael Schenker, mais pas que parce qu'il a énormément de projets et puis c'est quelqu'un qui est vraiment très sympathique qu'on a pu voir plusieurs fois. Alors si vous avez été ces derniers temps sur un petit peu les Hellfest et le Grass Pop, vous l'avez vu avec Michael Schenker bien sûr, et puis nous on a eu la chance de le croiser à Cléon. Alors c'est un petit peu difficile parce qu'il a été un petit peu malade à Cléon, mais en tout cas je suis persuadé qu'il reviendra. Aujourd'hui on accueille Steve Mann les amis pour nous parler d'un nouvel album qui va sortir avec Ousey, un autre grand chanteur. Alors il y a une vraie vie de chanteur avec Steve, on va en parler parce que vraiment il est encadré par des très grands chanteurs. On va avoir quelques questions là-dessus. On va parler de ce Is Anybody Listening avec Steve tout de suite. Le disque est disponible le 24 juin. Il sort sur le label Escape Music. Il y a énormément de bons titres. Il y a 13 titres. En tout cas, on en parle tout de suite avec Steve. Steve, hello. Do you hear me correctly? First of all, thank you so much for accepting my invitation request. It's a great pleasure, honor to speak with one of the most fantastic keyboard guitar player and so on.
Well, I'm very flattered. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Olivia. That's a fantastic introduction. I had no idea what you were saying at the beginning then, but it's great to talk to you.
So, Steve, it's a great pleasure to speak about not only this release, You Say Man Is Anybody Listening, but we have a large career with you. We have a lot of people who is working with you since many years. We have a lot of fantastic singers that we play with him, with fantastic guitar player. So first of all, I think we have to speak about this Is Anybody Listening, who is coming at the end of June. I think you are so happy because I think with Chris Ousey, Steve and Chris and Steve and Chris, I think it's a good alchemy to discover something new on your record session.
Yes, I mean, I'd heard Chris with Heartland, and I always liked his voice. And Khalil Turk at Escape Records, he had the idea of, he likes to put different musicians together who he thinks will work well together. And he had the idea of putting me together with Chris. And he said to us, you both seem to have the same kind of personality. I'm sure you'll get on quite well. And I think from the moment we worked on the first song together, we knew that we had something a little bit different, a little bit special. And I can't remember what the first song was, but I sent the backing track. I basically recorded a backing track and sent it to Chris, and he sent his ideas back to me. And I just went, wow, this is fantastic. And so we experimented a bit. We tried different styles, and we wanted to get away from the standard format of heavy rock, if you like, and just do something perhaps a little bit different, a little bit unusual. And Chris was really into that idea, and I think what we came up with was a fantastic album. There's no fillers on the album at all. We've got 13 tracks, I think, altogether, 12 or 13 tracks, and we just, once the creativity started, we just kept going and going, and I think he had to say, "I'll tell you when to stop," and he said, "I think we've got an album now." So, but it was a real pleasure for me to work with Chris. It was a fantastic working relationship.
Et ben voilà les amis, alors on parle tout de suite de cet album Is Anybody Listening, puisque effectivement il y a donc 13 titres, comme vient de le dire Steve, qui sont disponibles, et puis donc cette alchimie entre Chris Ousey et Steve Mann, et ben elle date de 2020. On va en parler dans un instant avec Steve, parce que c'est Khalil Turk, le patron de Escape, qui a voulu les rapprocher pour faire quelque chose ensemble. Et puis comme le dit Steve à l'instant, le fait de bien s'entendre, d'avoir des atomes crochus, parce que Chris Ousey c'est quand même un super chanteur. Il a joué dans Virginia Wall, dans Heartland et The Distance, enfin plein d'autres. Et c'est vraiment une bonne approche pour écouter ce Is Anybody Listening, parce que derrière, dans ces différents titres, ils ont beaucoup travaillé, ils se sont fait beaucoup plaisir. Et puis, comme le dit Steve, ils ont fait un titre, 2 titres, et puis ils sont partis, ils ont fait plein de titres. Et en fin de compte, à la fin, Chris a dit stop. On a assez pour faire un album. Peut-être qu'il y a des bonus tracks, on sait pas. Mais en tout cas, il y a 13 grands titres, et cet album est un très très bon album, une très belle découverte. Steve, I just said, with all these songs that we wrote, it's a great pleasure to hear this album because it's so classic rock, blues rock, and we have a lot of different approach on the different songs. So I think you pass a lot of time to explore maybe something different, like you have on your bag. I would like to say with some bands like Lionheart or maybe Michael Schenker, of course. So it's a little bit different because so many other things coming when you listen to this album that you have a great opportunity, I think, to explore something a little bit different.
I mean, I've been in the music business for years now. It's I've lost count how many years it is, but I mean, obviously over that period of time, I have had a lot of influences and listened to a lot of different styles, and some kind of styles have come in and gone again. But I think what it's done has made my taste of music very, very broad. I like everything from a lot. I listen to a lot of classical music, and anything from a lot of funk bands through to symphonic metal bands. If it's good music for me, it's great. And I think what I did with Chris, because we had this very creative vibe going on when we put the album together, that it enabled both of us, I think, to kind of go back over our past tastes. And just incorporate, a little bit of Queen here or a little bit of Pink Floyd here. And, we didn't set ourselves any limits. We didn't say to ourselves, okay, we're going to do a heavy rock album or we're going to do a funk rock album or whatever it was. If we just fancied doing something, we did it. And I think that's been a great pleasure for me to kind of get all of these influences out of my system and onto a single record. And I think it's worked very, very successfully. So we're very pleased with that.
Ben voilà, comme le dit Steve, alors quand vous allez découvrir cet album qui s'appelle donc Is Anybody Listening, sur ces 13 titres, il y a vraiment des titres très différents. Donc la question était assez... voilà, je voulais savoir un petit peu comment s'étaient organisés pour enregistrer. Et puis effectivement, d'un petit côté, on a des morceaux un peu blues, des morceaux un peu plus classique rock, des morceaux un peu plus planants. Et la question, c'était comment ils se sont organisés et puis qu'est-ce qu'ils avaient envie de faire. Et est-ce qu'ils ont été vers d'autres univers. Et ben comme le dit Steve, ça fait très longtemps qu'il est dans le business. Et puis il a découvert plein de choses. Il aime bien la musique symphonique, il aime bien aussi la partie Pink Floyd. Donc quand il avait des idées dans ce disque avec Chris, ils ont discuté, ils ont posé ces différents morceaux et puis ils ont écrit ensemble, ce qui paraît être un très très bon album. En tout cas, moi je vous le recommande. Il s'appelle donc Ousey, Mann Is Anybody Listening. Il est sorti, il est disponible via Escape Music, il est dans toutes les bonnes crémères. En tout cas, c'est un super super bon album. Steve, maybe one question, because you are in one hand you are a busy man, and in other hand we are I would like to say a fantastic one, because we at this stage in June and May and June you have a lot of concerts, a lot of new release, and I think for an artist like you, since the COVID period, it's so important to come back to share a lot of music, not only with Michael, but with Ousey and Mann, of course, and some other stuff. And in other hand, you play a lot of gigs with a lot of smile on your face. So this, just for you, on artist point of view, just after this COVID period, what a crazy comeback now on stage and with a lot of release, lot of people around you to listen your music each time.
Well, I had this theory. I think I got this theory after we did these two festivals at Grasspop and Hellfest, that this 2 years away from music has made everybody appreciate live music, or appreciate music full stop a lot more, because I think that there was a certain amount of people just they couldn't be, they could watch a band on YouTube or wherever, and they thought, we can't be bothered going out tonight, we'll see them next time they come through, or we'll just check out the gig on YouTube and see how it was. And I think because bands couldn't play live for 2 years, I think now it's coming back. people really appreciate what's happening and really appreciate the value of bands coming out and playing live, and the sheer joy and the wonder of actually having a live band and being able to watch a live band. And of course that applies right across the board, not just for the fans who come to see the bands, but also for the musicians themselves. And obviously financially it's been very difficult for a lot of musicians, and they're glad to get back out and be able to earn some money again. But I think just being able to walk out onto those stages and play in front of an audience, it's a fantastic feeling. And certainly for me personally, we came back last year with the UK tour with Michael Schenker, and that was just 4 dates in the UK. But the feeling of being able to play live again was fantastic, and I think that really for me made me appreciate how lucky we are to be able to go out and play for people. And I think the fans themselves have realized that if they didn't have the live music, it would be a very depressing world, to be honest.
Bah voilà, la question c'était, vous l'avez compris, Steve est de retour depuis la période Covid. Alors il a fait plein de concerts ces derniers temps, et puis la question c'était, est-ce que ça fait du bien quand même de revenir sur scène, de voir ces gens qui font le plaisir, comme le dit Steve. Oui, parce que ça a été très compliqué. Alors regarder des concerts sur YouTube ou des choses comme ça, c'est pas la vraie vie. Retourner sur scène, c'est la vraie vie. Il y a des groupes qui avaient besoin d'argent, il y a des groupes qui avaient, comme tout le monde, avait besoin. Nous, on avait besoin de retourner voir des groupes. Les groupes avaient besoin de remettre de l'énergie et de nous apporter tout ce qu'ils peuvent nous apporter avec la musique, bien sûr. Et donc ce retour sur scène, c'est vraiment très bon. Maybe one word about concert, of course, Steve. Do you think you have the possibility in a couple of months to play some live show with Chris and the rest of the band to introduce this record? I think it's a good idea to share something, not only on CD and vinyl, maybe, but maybe on stage with these fantastic songs that we have.
It would be fantastic. I mean, I think we have a great. Well, we have enough for a set. We just play all the songs off the album. We haven't talked about it because that was never in the planning. But I think if this record, which is actually coming out tomorrow, I think, as we speak.
Yes.
I think if this record does well, and people go out and buy it, and it gets very good. It's had good reviews so far, and if it carries on getting good reviews, and we get the feeling that actually people might want to come and see us, then I guess we might be able to start convincing a booking agency and local promoters that we are worth putting on. We'd have to get a band together, obviously, but that's not too difficult. So yeah, it's something well worth thinking about, and it's something that up to this point we hadn't thought about. But now you mention it, yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Bah voilà, donc la petite question, on parlait de concert, bien sûr. L'idée, ça serait, oui, est-ce que on pourrait voir un concert de Ousey Mann avec pour défendre cet album, peut-être sur scène. Comme le dit Steve, si les ventes sont bonnes, s'il y a beaucoup de demandes, et si effectivement ils peuvent monter un groupe et qu'on peut avoir un booking agencer qui monte l'affaire, pourquoi pas, hein, c'est comme d'habitude, why not, hein, tout va dépendre du retour et de ce que vous allez faire de cet album. Steve, go back to the Is Anybody Listening. One of my favorite songs on it is a song called, well, I have 2 songs that I like a little bit more than the rest. One is called Brave New World. It's one of my preferred. Maybe some words about Brave New World. Who came with this idea? How we build this song? You build with the guitar riff, or maybe Chris have some lyrics and you turn around the lyrics to create the song. What is the approach for this song with one of my favorite?
Yes, that came out very well. I mean, all of the songs started with, I just had a blank sheet in my studio and I just picked up the guitar and I just kind of would mess around with some ideas. And I think that's how Brave New World came about. It's one of my favourite songs on the album too. I really like that song.
Well, I send the money just after, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah. But I mean, I love Chris's lyrics. I mean, he takes care of all of the melodies and the lyrics for the songs, and he writes some very conscientious lyrics. He does a little bit of social commentary and just kind of touches on perhaps a little bit of politics here and there. But I think, I actually don't know Chris that well. I mean, we've kind of very much talked on a professional basis. We've never really had the chance to socialize with each other. It would be great to, because I think he's a fantastic guy. The dealings I've had with him, and I think we both kind of think in a similar way, that we are, we can see what's happening to the earth, and we can see, what's happening with climate change and what's happening with young people with their phones and everything, and that they should probably just put them down and just go out and have a little bit of a look around at real life, like we did when we were kids. And I think we kind of have the same sort of approach to life, Chris and myself, and that's why I think I really, really like his lyrics a lot. And Brave New World is, similar to one of those, just saying that if we don't watch it, we just have to be careful about how the world's going to end up. And I think to be honest, we're fast approaching that point where, we're going to be in serious trouble. So I think, it's good. I feel very proud to be a part of an album that just makes a little bit of kind of comment on that, because I think it's probably not a bad idea for musicians to participate in the discussion about, taking care of the environment and taking care of the world a little bit better than we do.
Et ben voilà, donc on a un titre commun avec Steve, alors pour le coup, puisque moi j'ai beaucoup apprécié ce titre Brave New World. La question était comment vous avez fait le titre et comment ça s'est passé. Est-ce que c'est plutôt des riffs de guitare et puis est-ce que les paroles viennent après? Alors comme le dit Steve, en fait ils étaient dans son studio et puis Steve a sorti quelques riffs de guitare et puis Chris est venu consciencieusement amener sa partie chant, et puis ce Brave New World il parle effectivement un petit peu de ce qu'on vit, de faire attention bien sûr à l'environnement, à être que tout soit mieux, que ça soit plus sympa, qu'il n'y ait pas de guerre et ainsi de suite. Et puis ce morceau effectivement il est particulier parce que c'est un des morceaux qui est très fort de l'album, parce que si vous écoutez l'album vous allez voir qu'effectivement il y a beaucoup de morceaux très forts, mais celui-là est particulièrement fort et notamment il parle de ce world dans lequel on est et peut-être réussir à faire un tout petit peu changer. Steve, another word regarding. I just speak about my second best song on it, but just maybe a few words about. I tell you when to stop. This is the first single that you share to a lot of people before this record arrive, and I see a lot of fantastic feedback from the people who listen to the first single. I think for you, it's so you are so happy with this feedback, because when you create something a little bit new with a new approach, with a new lineup and something like that, it's so important to see the first feedback for the listener. So, are you more comfort with just after this first single to see this feedback, and maybe you see, okay, I create a good one?
Yes, it's always good, obviously, to when you see glowing reviews, and every review that we've had so far of the album has been really, really good. And I think you have this feeling that when you release an album, you just have this fear inside of you. Maybe it's not so good as I think it is. And I think when people review it and give it a glowing review, then it of course it does help to confirm in you that that you've actually come up with a good album. Just going back to Brave New World.
Yes.
Quickly, I forgot to mention the guitar solo in that. I think is the best guitar solo I've ever played. Now I know I'm blowing my own trumpet here. I just hit a zone when I did that guitar solo, and the whole thing was. It wasn't quite one take. I did, I think, drop in for a couple of bits. But even now, when I listen back to it, I'm immensely proud of that solo, and I wouldn't change it now for the world. I just think it's a solo that I just think worked on every level. But just getting back to I'll tell you when to stop. I don't think that song is representative of the album.
Yes, sure. Yes, clearly.
I think any song that you pick probably isn't representative because they're all so different.
Yeah.
They kind of somehow tie in with each other, all the songs, but they're all individual feels. And I'll Tell You When to Stop, itself is a kind of individual feel, and try to make that a bit kind of Queen-like, with the vocals, and that's the one that my son is singing backing vocals on. And he comes in on the second and third choruses, and Chris does the main block harmonies, and then Jason, my son, comes in with 3-part harmonies in between the lines, and it works really, really well. I think it's a kind of very nice idea, and does remind me a little bit of Queen. The guitar riff is a little bit Pink Floyd. We almost called it "I'll Tell You When to Stop Putting Bricks in the Wall," but we shortened it to "I'll Tell You When to Stop." But I think it's probably a good track to have out as a first single, just because it is different. I think it kind of it points the way a bit to how diverse the album is.
Et ben voilà, donc on parlait du premier single qui s'appelle I Will Tell You When to Stop. Et puis Steve est revenu entre parenthèses sur le Brave New World parce qu'il a oublié de nous dire qu'il avait adoré mettre son solo de guitare, et il pense que c'est un de ses solos de guitare les mieux faits, les plus importants pour lui. Et donc on est revenu juste de parler à Brave New World un instant parce qu'il adore ce solo de guitare qu'il a fait. On écoutera Brave New World bien sûr à la fin de l'interview parce que c'est un très bon morceau. Pour revenir à Tell You When to Stop, c'est le premier single qui est sorti. Alors il est un petit peu différent dans son approche, vous avez compris, un petit peu Pink Floyd. Il y a son fils Jason qui vient aussi interpréter, mettre sa voix sur le titre. En tout cas, c'est une surprise parce que en fait tous ces titres sont étant tellement différent que c'était difficile de mettre un single, comme il le dit. Mais celui-là, il est quand même pas mal parce que le morceau est bien fait. C'est un très bon titre. Et puis comme on se disait, c'est toujours ici hyper sympa de voir les personnes qui ont été écouter le titre, de mettre une critique ou de mettre un bon commentaire. Et en parallèle de ça, effectivement, les commentaires et les reviews qu'il y a sur cet album Is Anybody Listening sont très bonnes. Donc c'est toujours hyper important. Et quand on pense qu'on a fait un bon album, on est quand même très très content. Voilà. Maybe Steve, one word about the people who is working with you on this release. So of course you have Chris on vocals. Maybe this is not a love affair, but it is a family affair. I think we have Angela Mann who play bass, we have Chris Edwards who play drums, and your son Jason Mann who sing a little bit. So I think this lineup sounds like not so bad, in fact, huh?
It's great. I mean, I've got my studio is at my home here.
Yes.
In Hanover, and I've got my son next door, and I've got my wife Angela downstairs, who's a fantastic bass player. And so rather than having to start making phone calls to get other musicians involved, I just call downstairs. Just say Angela, and she comes up and she plays some bass parts for me. And same with Jason. I just said, Jason, come in here. I think we need some backing vocals here. And so we worked out the parts, and it's great. If you've got a family who are so musical, why not? Why not get them involved? And I think it's really nice. It's worked out really well.
And Steve, my next question: when we create a Mann family CD release or something like that?
Well, yes, we've already recorded some stuff, and it used to be on Spotify, but I had a bit of an argument with my distributor, and everything came off Spotify again. So, but I will be uploading it again, so that there is some stuff which is basically myself and Angela and Jason. Yeah. So keep a lookout for it, because I will be getting that back up on Spotify and iTunes and everything else. Hopefully in the next month or so. Ok,
voilà, donc on est en train de, donc le line-up, vous l'avez compris, Chris Ousey bien sûr au chant et backing vocal, Steve Mann bien sûr à la guitare, Angela Mann bien sûr sa femme à la basse, Clive Edwards à la batterie, et puis son fils Jason qui vient passer aussi sa voix. Et comme le dit Steve, comme il a son propre local à Hanovre, c'est assez facile. Il est en train d'enregistrer, il appelle sa femme, et Angela vient mettre un peu de basse, et Jason vient mettre un peu de voix, et puis voilà, ça fait des petits add-ons sur la musique. Et en tout cas, c'est très bien fait. Et cet album, je le rappelle, Is Anybody Listening, c'est un super album. Steve, before we finish, we have just one word about what you are a lucky man. You are a lucky man because we play with a lot of fantastic singers since so many times. You have a chance to share the stage with Robin McAuley, Ronnie Romero, Gary Barden. Of course, we have now an album coming with Chris Ousey. What a chance that we have to play with these fantastic singers during your careers. What a crazy moments that for sure you have when you share the music with so beautiful singer.
Yes, I mean, when I came back into MSG in 2016, I always loved Gary's voice. I mean, for me, he was the voice of
course,
of MSG. I loved that, I'm the ready, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I was a Graham Bonnet fan from the Rainbow singles. I always loved his voice on those. Robin, I just thought he was, such a killer singer. I think he is probably my favorite singer of all time. He is absolutely amazing. And there's Doogie White, who
of course,
I love the
Doogie,
stuff that he did with Rainbow. Chris, of course, and now Ronnie, who I saw in Hanover playing with his band, and thought, wow, this guy is fantastic. And the next thing I saw, he was in Rainbow. And now I've had the chance to play with them all. It is, I sometimes just, I pinch myself to make sure that I'm not dreaming, because, within the period of 5 years, I've had a chance to play in a band with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 or whatever it comes to, 7 of my absolute favorite singers of all time. And I don't know. I'm just lucky, I suppose.
Yeah.
I hope, I hope they feel.
I know you are a lucky man.
Me, but I'm a very lucky man, and I've and of course I'm also a big, I love Michael's guitar playing.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Simon Phillips fan. I always thought that, what Simon played with Toto, for example, was absolutely sublime. I thought was fantastic. And when COVID came along, we've been rehearsing up to go to Japan. And we had 4 shows in Japan. 2 of those shows was at the International Forum in Tokyo. And we had all of these people with us. We had Simon was there, Graham, Robin, Doogie, you name it. Everybody was all going to Japan for this massive mega concert.
Yes.
And COVID came along, and 2 days before we were due to leave, it was cancelled. So that was a real disappointment. But I can't complain. I've still had the opportunity of working with all of these guys, and they are an absolute joy to work with.
Bah voilà, comme je le disais, Steve, c'est quand même quelqu'un, c'est un lucky man, hein, parce que franchement, il fait de la bonne musique, c'est quelqu'un vraiment de très sympa. Et puis il a travaillé avec tellement de grands guitaristes, bien sûr, hein, puisqu'on a parlé de Michael Schenker, mais avec tous ces grands chanteurs, Chris Ousey. Alors on a parlé bien sûr de Robin McAuley, on a parlé bien sûr de Ronnie Romero, mais pas que, puisqu'il y a Graham Bonnet, il y a Gary Barden, il y a Doogie White. Voilà, c'est quand même des très très grands chanteurs. Et comme il le dit, des fois je me pince, hein, parce que quand je suis sur scène et que je suis avec eux, je me dis j'ai quand même la chance d'avoir peut-être les plus grands chanteurs avec qui j'ai travaillé, et il est très fan de tous ces personnes-là. Et franchement, voilà, comme il le dit en plus, avec le Covid, et c'était le grand regret du moment, c'est que quand ils sont partis au Japon pour faire cette grande tournée, effectivement, ça a été annulé à cause du Covid, et tous ces gens-là étaient là, mais les répètes ont dû être fantastiques. En tout cas, c'est ce qu'il nous dit. Steve, before one word about, of course, because we speak about the tour in Japan with a lot of people, I think maybe one word, because one of my favorite drummers is Ted McKenna. So, and of course Ted, passed away right now. So, I think it's a great clin d'œil, or maybe like you say in French, clin d'œil, when we open the tour with MEG with a song from Ted.
Yes, I mean we I mean, I miss Ted. You know, I mean, he was a fantastic drummer, and I loved Alex, the Alex Harvey band, and that was another thing for me. Was I used to play Faith Healer religiously, or the whole album. I used to play back in the 70s, and always just loved that groove of Faith Healer, that dong 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 dong. And then suddenly in 2016, there I was with the Alex Harvey rhythm section, Ted and Chris Glenn, and they were just they played together for so many years, and they were absolutely phenomenal, And I walked in before Michael arrived. I walked into the rehearsal one time and said, "Look, do me a favour, guys. Can I just play Faith Healer with you? Because I just need to do it one time in my life." I think they were quite honoured.
Yeah.
Well, they were quite pleased.
I understand. And
it was lovely. I played the bits that Zal Clemenson played. But Ted he was such a lovely guy. He was such a gentleman. I never ever, in all my time of working with him, never heard him complain. I never heard him moan about anybody or say anything bad about anybody. He was one of the funniest guys you could ever possibly meet, and he had a singing voice that was just incredible. It was a very operatic voice, and he was a very, very calming influence on everybody. And when we heard the news back in January of 2019 that he died after going into hospital for a routine operation, all of us, we were so upset, and we still miss him desperately these days. He was such a lovely guy, and it's sometimes hard to to let it sink in that he's not with us anymore. It's such a sad loss, a very sad loss, and he was just a brilliant drummer, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, bah voilà, on avait un petit mot quand même pour Ted McKenna, parce que effectivement, quand vous découvrez un petit peu la dernière tournée de Michael Schenker, le premier titre, il est en hommage bien sûr à Ted McKenna, et puis comme le dit Steve, il a eu la chance de jouer bien sûr avec Ted McKenna et Chris Glenn, bien sûr le duo infernal de la rythmique de Michael Schenker, et puis voilà, comme il le dit, faites-moi plaisir, est-ce que je peux jouer avec vous? Voilà, c'est quand même le petit ton, la petite boutade du jour, et puis effectivement, comme le dit Steve, Ted McKenna était vraiment quelqu'un de très sympa. Il avait une super voix en plus, et puis c'était quelqu'un qui jouait, qui était vraiment un plus pour le groupe, et c'est vraiment une très mauvaise nouvelle ce décès de Ted McKenna, juste pour une opération bénigne, voilà, qui a eu lieu, et depuis effectivement il manque à beaucoup. Il manque bien sûr à eux qui étaient souvent avec lui, mais aussi à nous, parce que c'était un très très grand batteur. Steve, before we ending, I think one word about one song on this release with Chris, Ousey with coming, with called Is Anybody Listening. One word. Do you think you don't have a second chance?
Can you say that again, Olivia? I'm sorry.
No, I
missed the question.
No, the question is just one title of the Is Anybody Listening is No Second Chance. So do you think you have no second chance to record another one?
I think there's probably every chance. I'll keep the answer that short.
Et ben voilà, donc c'était sur le ton de la boutade pour finir dans cet album qui s'appelle Is Anybody Listening. Il y a un morceau qui s'appelle No Second Chance. Alors je demandais à Steve si on avait pas de deuxième chance d'avoir un autre album. En tout cas, il dit non. J'espère qu'on aura la chance de pouvoir en avoir un autre. Et puis en tout cas, on va remercier bien sûr Steve de son temps. Steve, I would like to say thank you before we ending this interview. Again, congratulations to you and to Chris and your family for this record. Ousey Mann Is Anybody Listening, is coming on the 24th of June, so it's very tomorrow. And I hope we have a large success. Tomorrow. Yes, and I hope you have a large success with this release, with one of the fantastic release. With these 30 songs are so crazy, so maybe I hope a lot of people take a time to listen your music, take a time to buy your music, of course. And I hope to see you again on stage for sure. I don't know when, I don't know where, but for sure. I'm totally sure that you come back. Before we ending, Steve, do you have a quick message for the French listener?
Thank you. If you were at Hellfest at the weekend, thank you. It was absolutely fantastic. If you weren't at Hellfest, come and see us when we come to France. And we love playing in France. It's fantastic. And hope to see you all out there at a show somewhere in the very near future.
Steve, thank you so much. Now we're listening one of my favorite, and I think your favorite too. We listen right now, Brave New World.